So I'll take a pepperoni pizza with everything on it. Oh, hey there, everybody. Mr. Harvey here. You're just in time. We're going to talk about FOIL, how to multiply binomials together. Hope you enjoy. Alright, so if you get a question in your math class that says, please expand and simplify using FOIL, all you're going to have to do is multiply to get things together. That's what expanding means. And simplifying means grouping all your like terms together into the simplest form possible. So let's start off here. You have 2x plus 2. This is a binomial because there's two terms that are not like terms. They don't have the same variable, so the same exponent. And here's another binomial. Now the brackets mean multiply, so you're going to multiply this binomial by this binomial. Okay? So we use the acronym FOIL. Well, F stands for first, so you got to think, what are the first terms? Well, 2x is the first in this bracket, and x is the first in this bracket, so we'll just call those the first two terms. So what you're supposed to do is you take 2x times x, and we'll show that in blue. Now, O stands for outside, so you multiply the outside terms, 2x and 4. So there you go, 2x times 4. And now the I, if you guessed outside, you think the opposite of outside is, well, inside, and you just do 2 times x, which gives you 2x. And of course, there's one last thing you didn't multiply together, and that we call the last terms, and that is 2 times 4, which is going to be 8. So you have all these things. I put it out in long form so you can see it, but you can really skip this step and just multiply things together. So 2x times x, well, you know that there's an exponent on each of these things. There's an imaginary 1 and imaginary 1 there. And so what you do when you have variables of the same base, you keep the base and you add the exponents. So you're going to get 2 times x squared. Here you have 2x times 4. Well, 2 times 4 is 8, and you're just left with an x, so 8x. And here, 2 times x, 2x, and 2 times 4, well, 8. And now you got to look at it. You go, okay, are any of these like terms? Well, x squared, there's no other x squared term in here. But you have two terms that have an x in them. Okay? So if you have 8 x's and you have 2 x's, how many x's do you have in total? You have 10 x's. So you can add it up. You can write 2x squared plus 10x plus 8. And that's how we do it. The ones with the highest degree, the highest exponent, go first. That's just the general way we write it. So you'd write the 2x squared, then the x, and then the number. Right? Let's try another example. So example 2, again, expand and simplify using FOIL. So now we have x minus 3 times x plus 5. Well, we start with our first terms, x times x. Then we go to our second terms, which are the outside ones for O, x times 5. And then we do our inside terms, minus 3 times x. And then last, we do our last terms, minus 3 times 5. Notice how I wrote the plus minus 3 times x. You don't need to write this plus. You can just write minus 3x, or you could just write minus 3 times 5 there. You can even skip that step, and all you have to do is you can go straight to x squared, 5x, well, minus 3x, and minus 15. Now you have 5 x's, and you're subtracting 3 x's, so how many x's do you have left over? Well, you have 2 x's left over. So this is your final answer. So now we're going to take some FOIL practice. We're going to try these ones on our own without using that. Okay, so let's go with our first times x gives you x squared. Let's go with our outside terms. X times 2 is 2x. Then our inside plus another 2 times x is 2x. And our last terms is plus 4. And if you group them together, you get x squared plus 4x plus 4. You might see a question like this once in a while. X minus 3 all squared. Well, if you know what a squared means, it just means everything that's being raised to the exponent is multiplied by itself twice. So you could really rewrite this as x minus 3 times x minus 3. Right? So let's do that. X times x, our first terms, x squared. Then you got our outside terms, which is x times minus 3 is minus 3x, and you got another minus 3x, and then minus 3 times minus 3, a negative times a negative is a positive, so plus 9. You group your like terms, you get x squared minus 3x is minus 6x plus 9. And that's how it's done. Okay, let's try these ones now. So 4x times 2x, well, that you just multiply the coefficients, you get 8x squared. 4x times 1 is just 4x. Anything times itself is 1. Minus 3 times 2x is minus 6x. And minus 3 times 1 is minus 3. Group them together, you get 8x squared minus, well, 4x minus 6x, you are negative 2x's, and a 3. And there you go. Okay, let's try the last one. Oh, that's the same. Okay, this one here, let's mix it up a little bit. Let's assume this is a cubed and this is a squared. Let's see what happens then. So you've got 4x cubed times 2x squared, which is 8x, well, keep the base, add the exponents to the 5. Okay, let's go over here. 4x cubed times 1, well, that's just going to be 4x cubed. Minus 3 times 2x squared, well, that's just minus 6x squared. And lastly, you got minus 3 times 1, that's minus 3. Now, you look for your like terms. Well, this is an x to the 5. There's no other x to the 5's in here. This is an x to the 3. No other x to the 3's. This is an x to the 2. No other x to the 2's. And this is just a number, which we say is the 0th degree. And since there's no other just plain numbers as a single term, this is the final statement. And this is simplified. I hope you enjoyed learning about multiplying binomials together using the FOIL method. If you need anything, go to my website. It's mrharvey.ca. And until then, keep working hard. Adios. Nothing to rearrange. Sometimes you just get a feeling like you need some kind of change.